These projections anticipate the use of operating reserves to cover future deficits. If deficits remain as projected.
Right, we don't have speculation.
As a team, finance, and certainly with the support of Chris, that we are always looking for new revenue opportunities. We're always looking at how to control and contain costs. So understand that that is also factored into these projections as well.
Projection operating revenue overall assumes a 3% increase year over year. The operating revenue assumptions consider increased ridership, contractual rate increases, the potential of new community partnerships, and any additional services. And advertising revenue, mortgage tax revenue is budgeted flat as decrease and is then budgeted flat after. Any questions?
Keep going.
So here's a little more detail on operating assistance. Operating assistance for federal projections. Preventive maintenance is the use of conserved funds to close budget deficits in 25 and 26. In the following years, preventive maintenance will return to normal levels to ensure capital program remains funded. Operating assistance 26. In the following instance, for needy families, those funds are budgeted flat. 5311 rural assistance. That's assistance in Cortland, rural Onondaga County. Say that 5 times. Operating assistant for state projections, we budgeted still as flat. Preventive maintenance use of conserved funds, again, to close the budget deficits in 25 and 26. And then we'll return to normal levels to ensure that the capital program remains funded. And then state operating assistance for mobility on demand. Is a special program that will expire in 28-29. And then the local assistance is budgeted flat. Any questions?
Questions or more?
Operating expense projections. Overall assumes a 4% increase year over year. On these projections, salaries and wages assumes a 3% year over year increase. Other employee benefits also assumes 3%. Healthcare assumes a 7% increase year over year. Workers' comp assumes a 5% increase. Pension assumes a 3% increase year over year. Risk management assumes a 10% increase year over year. Purchase transportation assumes 6% increase year over year. And a lot of this is based on historical trends and current conditions as well. Materials and supplies assumes a 3% increase year over year. As well as services assumes a 3% increase. Fuel assumes a 3% increase year over year, and in 28-29, the increase also includes the addition of hydrogen buses, which will be approximately 500,000 annually. Utilities assumes a 4% increase year over year, and other expenses it assumes a 3% increase. Any questions?
So are you gonna do one motion for both the capital and the operating?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will move into the capital budget.
You know what, we'll do a motion right now on the operating. Any more questions on the operating budget? I mean, it's out ahead of time. I think you did a great job your first time in front of us like this. I think the group did a good job. I know there's a lot of contributions here from the team, and the board appreciates everybody's hard work. So I have a motion. Tina, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Moving on to now our capital budget.
So our capital budget is funded by a mixture of federal, local, and state funds. In fiscal year 25-26, our proposed capital budget is a total of almost $25 million. These include a variety of projects in building upgrades, equipment, transit system enhancements. Those are both the solar signage and continuing efforts with our BRT, paratransit vehicles, and office equipment for Onondaga County. And then in our Portland County capital investment plan also includes some land acquisition for the combination or the combining of the Utica and the Rome facility. So Caitlin brought the award of that vendor a couple months ago. So they are moving along in that process. We also have $327,000 in equipment that we anticipate purchasing and about $6,000 in office supplies. And again, they're a mixture of federal, state, and local funds, and these projects are all fully funded. Any questions on our capital? I got the easy job. Very good not. Moving on to our capital budget for Portland. At this point, this is considered unfunded. These are the conversations that Chris and myself and the finance team are having with New York State on all levels to express what we need. It's about $31.7 million, 30 of that being constructing a new facility, but to get their system of operations in line with our system of operations, they will need bus cameras, computer hardware, facility equipment, new fare boxes, office equipment, service trucks, shelters, and service vehicles. Any questions in regards to that?
Years ago, when we did the startup with Oneida, there was some earmarked funds for that startup, and I think that's gonna be an evolution here too. So, but we did have a nicer building, even though sometimes it's a little wet.
Little.
We had to put some, but we had to have some boats in our request. But this will evolve more. This is gonna evolve more, but hopefully it ends up like we did Oneida, where there's some earmarked money for the capital investments.
So the multi-year capital investment program, this goes out, including this year, a total of 5 years, with a combination of the different projects. So this is actually a little different than what I just showed you. So what I showed you was actually the budget, the things that will actually happen. Our funding is kind of a year and a lag. So this is really when the additional fundings will be in place. So in 25-26, we will receive additional funding in the total of $23.5 million, and then in the subsequent years, $17.3 million, $28.5, and that coincides with projects that we want to get done in the following year. So the money that would have been presented in the last budget year or the last budget plan last year, those projects are now being done in what I had just presented to you a few slides earlier. So it is a little confusing, but we have to have the funds in place before we can actually move forward with the projects. Any questions in regards to that? And some highlights from this plan, right? Additional funds for the Oneida consolidation facility, additional funds for the BRT project, the purchase of our first hydrogen buses, the facility upgrades that go with that, and then additional fixed route buses for other transit replacement projects.
So what do you do with your rolling stock?
What do you mean, what do we do with it?
So, is that income at all? Well, it's not income, but so when you get rid of your,
Right, so per our investment plan or our asset disposal plan, we have to auction them.
right,
And usually for a diesel bus, we get about $3,000. And that's about the scrap value as well. So that would be considered that line. It's called like gain of the asset disposal. And it's about, this year will be higher because we have 64 buses we're replacing, but on average, it's about $50,000 in revenue. Any additional questions? Well, that concludes our budget presentation.
Any other questions on capital? So some of the newer things that we have, are funded at this point, and other things we're working on that funding.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So is it Cortland the same way where you're gonna have to have the money, some funds, like want approved, lack of a better word, before you go forward, or?
Why?
In some cases, yes, depending on what it is. They do have some funds that we're working already with the county and with New York State DOT that they have obligated for some of the projects we have. They were looking at fare box upgrades and communication upgrades. So we may be forced to put up some of that money first, but then hopefully transfer it over, and then either we can change the scope of that money to use it for another project we have on the list, or it could be put towards some of that continued infrastructure as we take over the services. But some of that initially may come up that we have to put it up front and then hopefully find additional increases and still it and reimburse ourselves. And that's what Melissa was talking about, which I would get into my report that, we're actively working on with Department of Budget, DOT. We have a call with the governor's office today to look at those earmarks that we did for Oneida and cover those costs.
I think one thing is nice because I think government likes initiatives like this, bringing various organizations together. So hopefully,
They'll pay for it. Okay, like, better to pay for
I'll be knocking on some doors with the team. Okay, so, did they ask for a motion?
Not yet.
Okay, so can I have a motion for capital? Really, a second? Luella, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, very good. Good job on all that capital. We're gonna go right into motions. Jackie? Jackie's gonna start out with the 25 premium equivalent, then we're gonna get into Delta Dental premium equivalent, and then we're gonna get into the stop loss insurance renewal for our
So
self-funded plan.
that was an error.
That
It will stop
will
loss
be next
next
month.
month.
Okay,
We don't have the quote yet on
Okay.
that one. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and staff. Just have 3 motions to discuss with you this morning. The first one being Central of Oneida Medical Plan. We went out one group went out to bid this again this year for our Oneida staff, and Excelis came back with the most beneficial rate. We're looking at a 9.9% increase in the medical cost for that plan. It was actually like 12% when they started, so they were able to get it down a little bit. Just so you know, that is a community plan, so it's not anything that we're self-insured with. So I would need a motion for that.
and then under 10%.
Yes,
Yeah, I like
it's
to
under
try to stay under
10%. They got it, yes, they got it under 10%, which was good.
Okay, any questions on the plan to be awarded to Excelis for Oneida? If not, may I have a motion? Okay, Monty, second, Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. The next one is, and I think we can probably, I don't know if you wanna do this separate, Mr. Chairman or not, but the UMR premium equivalents for 2025. For our medical plan, we are looking at a 3% increase just for the medical cost, due to obviously the claims increase and the usage of the plan. And then for our dental plan, we're looking at an 11% increase for the 25 premium cost, due to the extensive claims and usage that it's been on an increase, so.
Questions for Jack, any of those?
What's UMR?
UMR is our third-party medical provider for the insurance.
Any other questions? Good question. We have a motion? Darlene, second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, resolutions. Caitlin, you ready? Okay, so Caitlin's gonna talk about, our defined pension. There's a couple parts there, there's two parts. We're first gonna talk about, 3A, which is the contract award for pension services. Then there's another thing that kinda piggybacks on top of that, so we'll start with the first one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So this is the resolution for the pension services defined benefit. This will be paid for using proceeds from our investment fund. So this request for proposal was publicly let on August 29th. 39 vendors were invited, 24 of which were MWBEs, and 34 proposal packages were downloaded. On September 26th, we received 4 proposals, and the evaluation committee determined that Alesco Advisors offered the most advantageous proposal for the investment portion of the contract, and NBT Bank offered the most advantageous proposal for the trustee and custodian portions of the contract. There is a full MWBE waiver approved by Empire State Development on this contract. So therefore, we are requesting award to Alesco Advisors and NBT Bank for their respective portions of the contract for a full 5-year term.
This has been a 5-year contract. I can remember, various vendors, over the years. And I know we do our due diligence, we go through the process. Alesco has, I think, served us well too. They're currently our provider right now. I remember, this is a large management of funds here. This is like right around 100 million pension money, so this is significant. Any questions for Caitlin on this? I have a motion. Tina, second. Robert? Any discussion? All in favor then to award a 5-year contract to Alesco? Okay, yes, okay. All right, moving on now. Caitlin, explain the back end of this now.
So this is our pension services for defined contribution. This is the employees that do not have a pension plan. It's the 401A plan. So this is also paid for utilizing proceeds from our investment fund. This request for proposal was also let on August 29th. 36 proposal packages were sent out, 24 of which went to minority women-owned business enterprises, and 25 proposal packages were downloaded. On September 26th, we received 4 proposals, and the evaluation committee determined that NBT Bank offered the most advantageous proposal. There is also a full waiver for MWBE utilization on this contract. So we are looking for a 5-year award to NBT Bank.
Questions? Okay, so I'm gonna have a motion. Go ahead.
The most important part of this is, are they providing the employee, the participants, with the needed education?
Yes, they scored the highest actually on
That's,
the education portion of it.
and that's the most important part of the trustees of the plan.
And I remember you brought that up years ago, so that's good. You keep us on point with that, Rob.
I constantly interact with people that work for companies where they have no clue. You know, somebody hands them a piece of paper and says, log on here and you can find everything out. Well, that doesn't cut it.
So I'm gonna present a motion now to award contract to NBT Bank for pension services for the defined contribution contract for 5 years. May I have a motion? Robert, Tina, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Jason? Jason's gonna discuss with us the supervisory vehicle purchase. The next resolution.
Good morning,
Number,
everybody.
3C.
This resolution is for the purchase of 3 supervisor vehicles for the Syracuse facility. It is paid for with grant funds, with an 80-10-10 split between federal, state, and reserve funds of the, respectively. It was sent out as a mini bid off the New York State OGS contract. The opportunity was sent to all 5 required vendors on October 30th. One bid was received, and the most responsive bidder was the Albany Auto Group. Therefore, we recommend that the board authorize a purchase order for $126,208 to the Albany Auto Group for 3 Toyota Highlanders.
Questions?
Only one of the 5?
Unfortunately, yes.
I don't care, cause I got a Toyota also. But, state doesn't make you purchase an American-made vehicle, although vehicles are made all
I can actually speak to this a little bit. You know, it's interesting, I thought about that too, Monty, before in the situation that I'm in. We used to do municipal leases, like with the big 3.
Yes, yeah, we did.
The big 3 got out of municipal leases, so I ended up now, our fleet is with Kia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, I don't know why they did, but they did, but I don't think they're on probably state contract, right?
Actually, I believe.
Or below you might.
I believe all manufacturers
Yeah.
currently are,
Yeah.
they have a list of vendors for each manufacturer depending on what the.
Lots of
needs are
times you go
for.
below state contract, so,
Just curious.
yeah. It's interesting you brought that up, Monty, because that's the second time in like 12 months.
Yeah.
You and I were
We
thinking
did
the
the
same way.
same lease thing.
Yeah. Okay, motion to, for the service vehicles. Darlene, second, Monty, any discussion, all in favor? Aye. Good job, Jason. Melissa, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, let's take a few minutes, folks. Thank you. Then we'll start the meeting. for the pledge of allegiance. Brent?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take a moment of silence. If you can please stand for Ellen Teachout Smith and Richard Rice. Ellen Teachout Smith passed away on October 25th. Ellen served as a valued member of the board from July of '93 to March of '95. Beyond her contributions to the board, she was a director of Arise and a passionate advocate for the rights of individuals with disabilities. Her life's work focused on empowering people to live independently and with dignity. Ellen's efforts helped shape the authority's commitment to ADA compliance, leaving a lasting legacy. I also would like to recognize Richard Rice, who passed away on November 20th. Richard was a mechanic for 31 years before retiring in '06. Our thoughts are with Mike, the director of maintenance, and the entire Rice family during this time. Thank you. Okay. Quorum is present. Our next meeting date is December 20th. This is usually a little bit later because of the holiday party that we have. Legal committee will meet at 9. Audit and finance, 9:30. The board meeting will be at 10. And the holiday gathering will start after the board meeting. May I have a motion to approve the regular minutes of October 25th? Julius. Second, Luella. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Mr. Tuff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. So looking at my report, continuing, we're still drawing down the COVID funds, certainly going over the budget, the projections we're looking at. For next year, we have about just over $6 million remaining in the ARP funds that we'll continue to draw down through this fiscal year. So continuing some conversation that we've had, we met with the city a couple months ago that we brought to the board to just discuss some concerns and make sure that we have support with the individuals down at the hub, that our staff, our customers, I know Julius, you've brought this up several times over the last couple months, of folks that are either loitering at the hub, individuals with substance abuse issues, some homelessness. So we reached out to the city to have a conversation. When we continued that conversation, Kevin, Rahman, and I met with the Deputy County Executive, Ann Rooney, who handles the human resources side of a lot of the county groups. So we met with her staff, assuming of the health departments and other departments, to discuss the concerns we're having with some of these non-customers and some of our customers to draw some attention and be able to get some resources down there to help these individuals and also help our staff during situations that we may not be fully comfortable with. So we've already continued that conversation since that meeting on the 28th. The county has provided resources. Kevin Parrott has been in contact with them to have individuals come down to help assist with individuals that may be on an overdose situation or in a substance abuse state. And we're seeing it improve down there. So we appreciate their help and their support through it, and we're going to continue those conversations to make sure that we're getting these individuals in the community help as they need it, but also keeping the hub safe for our employees and our customers. Also, a couple months ago, we talked about reconnecting the Interfaith Works Partnership on training individuals that are resettling here in central New York to use our bus system to get to work, to get to doctor's appointments, events, being social in the community as they integrate into the community. On November 1st, we had our first large group. We had about 30 individuals here who were their caseworkers to do essentially a train-the-trainer program. It started off with a facility tour to show them the behind-the-scenes workings of the transit authority. A lot of people, as we talk about it, I'm sure you guys as board members, and I know the staff can attest to this, when they drive by the hub, they say, "Oh, I drove by your office." Or the first thing we say is, "We work for Centro, are you a driver?" So we've spent a lot of time educating our stakeholders that there's a larger facility, there's a lot of things behind the scenes, and they're very appreciative of that. And then Scott and Lynette Scott is our supervisor who's responsible for the travel training. They did a train the trainer program here in the boardroom to get those individuals to understand our system, the mobile app, the schedules, the fare box. They took a bus trip down to the hub to show them the hub. And we continue to work on that program and that partnership. Continuing the conversation on Cortland County, I've isolated this instead of just being in various meetings because it is such a large topic. And certainly we discussed it as a budget item in Melissa's report, that we are diligently working as a team, the executives, their departments. We're working every day, we're meeting every week. We have folks traveling down to Cortland County on a regular basis, almost weekly, daily, to either follow buses, meet with the local stakeholders, the mayors of the small towns and villages, the supervisors of those towns, to just introduce ourselves, make connections, see what we can do better. Certainly working with Brad and the legal team to make sure that this transition is seamless. But we're continuing those conversations as Melissa talked about in creating the subsidiary and also meeting with DOT, meeting with Department of Budget. And today we have a conversation with the governor's office to further discuss additional funding to help make this transition successful. They have service down there, but certainly we know we have some amenities and features that they don't have that we want to bring there to provide to the community. And that comes with a cost. So to do this and do it successfully, to make that a seamless transition, we're looking for that. The continued meetings we're having, capital planning, recruiting, RPM, NIPTA membership, SMTC, and certainly with our transportation consultant team, Arcadis, on the BRT project, and Gen Fair working through a couple things as far as continuing the farebox upgrade, on some other features that we're hopefully looking to roll out in the near future. One thing that's not in my report that I want to just congratulate Carm Basil, who is the CEO at CDTA in Albany. Last night I took a ride out to Albany to represent Centro and celebrate Carm's 43-year career, who announced his retirement earlier this fall. He's the CEO at CDTA for 15 years and certainly a leader in transportation, not only in Albany, but across the state. They were the first agency in New York and the only agency in New York right now with BRT, and certainly we are looking to follow in putting that service here. Bike and scooter share. So on behalf of Centro, I want to congratulate Carm and wish him well in his future endeavors. Thankfully, he is not leaving the transit industry. He is sticking around with NIPTA for another 2 years to help continue the advocacy efforts that we have, especially knowing the future years as the COVID and the CRISA and the ARP funds have expired. We know there's a fiscal cliff coming, and his knowledge and history will help continue the efforts on the advocacy side to continue to get that STOA support that we need.
I've always enjoyed having conversations with Carmen at different gatherings. Very knowledgeable individual, and he always showed a sense of concern of what we were doing out here. So that was good. I'm glad you went.
Yeah, it was a great event. Several elected officials recognized him. We probably received, I think, 5 proclamations yesterday from the county, the local, the assembly, the Congress. But greatly appreciated, and certainly will be missed in the industry. But we're glad he's sticking around. Any questions? Julius?
I'm glad to see that you're working with about the homeless problem. As everybody know that the charities run the shelter across the street, on Mobile Boulevard. And I get a chance to meet with them and talk to them over there. Hopefully, Central can have some kind of communication with them over there about this homeless thing. I know I ride the bus all the time. I see all of these things happen down at the hub, especially. It's not as much as it used to be because the shelter moves.
Yeah, we do see some with like the rescue mission, or sometimes once the hub opens at 6 o'clock, we do see an influx, certainly on a rainy day like today or the cold weather coming. So that's why we're being proactive to get ahead of that, to help everybody. Be good partners to the community, to help the individuals that need to get the help, but also keep our customers and our operators safe. So we are continuing those conversations, and we're here to help. We're here to be partners. We're not here to displace those individuals. But
another thing that you mentioned about the deal, I was thinking about, and I sent you a copy of it, about doing maybe an experiment with the 3-wheeler here in Syracuse. In Syracuse is usually a test area.
Mm-hmm.
Is it pass here? You usually pass it here.
Yeah, we've connected your email with Brent, who leads that project. So when the weather breaks in the spring and if they wanna bring the three-wheel scooter here to Syracuse, we'll certainly maybe do a board ride along day. We'll get some scooters in out here for you guys to ride around the parking lot. But certainly do some test drives and some feedback. But yeah, we have reached out to DOSA. We'd be more than happy to have them bring the scooter.
I'm gonna come, so I want to.
Yeah, it's fun, you know.
For seniors, here we go.
I don't have a car no more. I rent a car if I need one, but I think I'd rather have three-wheel in
Sure. Sure.
Take a picture of you.
We can make that happen. Any other questions? All right, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report and our report.
We're gonna go through, our finance committee report, and, we've moved this along a little bit. Today I'm honored to sit on the panel, for Equity Empowerment Symposium at SUNY Poly, empowering the sense of belonging. I'm sitting on a panel with 3 other presidents in the region to have this, and at 12:30 somehow, some way, I'm gonna be on stage ready to go. So I'm kind of moving things a little bit more, because I think this is a very important panel discussion, and I want to be at 2 places at once. So I'm trying to figure how to do all this, so that's how I'm doing it. So thank you for, and that's why, no disrespect to the vice president reports or anything. If it was something major, we would be discussing it, but I really need to, be at that, it's gonna be a great event. So we're gonna move into the Audit and Finance Committee report. Our first motion was our UMR 2025 premium equivalent, Jackie discussed. And that was a 3% increase. Get a motion to move it for the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Tina, second is by Darlene. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. The other thing is, it's not on here, but I have the Central Oklahoma Medical Plan award contract with Excellus with a 9.9% increase. Motion was made to bring it to the full board. Can I have a motion? Luella, second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Delta Dental premiums up 11%, primarily from usage, so I understand that. Motion was made to bring it to the full board. Can I have a motion, please? Julius, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next month, the stop loss is coming through, Jackie?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there one more? Or did I miss one?
Oh, no, I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm just getting going. Motion to approve the statement of revenue and expenditures that Melissa went through. That was brought to us for full, Tina, Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We had the proposed operating budget, and I want to just make a comment. I'm very impressed with the work what was done. I was impressed with the first time. There's a lot of pressure on you there, and I told everybody before they came in to keep it down. But remember something about these operating budgets. This is at a period and a point in time of what intelligence we have. The state has to go through their whole process, because last year we budgeted a percentage, Melissa, what was it? And then when the state went through their budget.
Yeah, I think we budgeted like a 4% increase, and then they landed at like 7.6.
Right, so Melissa's approach and the team is more of a conservative. I think if you're conservative on revenues, aggressive on expenses, and if the expenses come in less and the revenues come in more, we're in a better situation. So I like that way of thinking. But I just wanted to let everybody know this is fluid. It's government we're talking about.
And one thing about the chief, we don't know what the next president administration will have. changes in regulations.
And those are some of the reservations we're putting in on the federal funding side for the capital plan and the outlook. Not knowing what that may look like, certainly we could have history to look at of how that's trended in future years, but, we'll continue to keep an eye out on what that may look like as far as, capital funding and discretionary funds that we could apply for. I'm sure Mario and SMPC are keeping an eye on it just as much as we are.
And that's why sometimes months after we come back with an amended budget,
Yeah.
because we're ahead. Motion was made to bring it to the full board. I have a motion. Tina, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Also, our capital plan, I think what we were interested in, what you identified of the projects laid out and the ones that are funded and the ones that aren't funded, but at least we have a good understanding. It's a totally separate budget. If we can maximize our capitals, it always helps with the minimize the impact on the operating. Motion was made to bring this to full board for approval. I have a motion. Okay, Tina, second. Luella, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Now we had 3 resolutions. Defined pension plan, the first one was to award contract to Alesco Advisors for the investment management services and NBT Bank for the trustee custodian service for the pension services defined benefit contract for a 5-year term commencing. Contract to be awarded to Alesco Advisors. A motion was made here to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Neil, second. Robert? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We also had resolution 3B, contract to award for pension services, defined contributor. Staff recommends a contract award to NBT Bank for the pension service defined contribution contract for 5 years. I have a motion. Tina, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Jason brought forward to us resolution 3C, 3 supervisory vehicles. Went out to multiple vendors. We did our job there. Only one responded, and recommended that we authorize purchase to the Albany Auto Group for a purchase of 3 Toyota Highlanders. I have a motion. Tina, second. Neil. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. So what I'd like to do, old business, just give a little bit of an update. We've been in talks with the consultant for the CEO search. We're narrowing down dates right now. They've had identified candidates. I don't know who all the candidates are. So for the board to start the process here. So I'll give you more update in December on where we're going. Okay. Any other things you got a word? Anybody else? No. I want everybody to have a great Thanksgiving with your family and friends. And I think that's what it's really about. We all have other things that we're involved with. But kick it back a little bit. I'm good with a fork. So,
No.
good with a fork, so we'll enjoy. I have 2 dinners. I have the American traditional dinner, and of course I have the Italian dinner. So we hit it pretty hard in my house. Okay. Once again, have a safe holiday. Looking forward to seeing everybody in December.
Thank you. I know members of the board, I think you guys got an email. Jackie does have to do an ethics training. Stick around.
Never mind.
Hey,
It's not that